you imagine what a dog would taste like. That's what it tastes like.
Holy shit! Did you hear that? The robot voice and shit. Okay. So everybody, I'm with Bobby Majors, everybody, and we are doing our pilot episode of whatever the heck this show is called. We don't even have a title for this show at this point.
The working title I got is "What the fuck do you want?"
What the fuck do you want? That's pretty good. Can we get like a graphic put up on this part, editing guy? That'd be great. So Bobby Majors is from
San Diego, California, but I lived in Los Angeles. I've performed in Los Angeles, Riverside County, San Diego, the Midwest, Saigon, and currently Phnom Penh. So
and all that is your comedian gig and musician gig
and a drummer gig.
Yeah. Sweet. They're going to it's not exactly a musician, right? It's a drummer.
Yeah, drummers aren't musicians, bro.
Yeah.
I always tell kids that I teach. I'm like, are you sure you want to do this? Because the first 8 years you're going to be lugging that shit by yourself. I was like, flute's a lot cheaper, man.
So I'm stuck right now in Pattaya, Thailand, and you are stuck where?
Phnom Penh, Cambodia.
How long you been there?
15 months.
And has it been a glorious 15 months?
Yeah, no, it has not. I came here.
It has not. Okay.
I came here. It's the usual white guy story. I came here because a girl told me to come back and visit her, and I came back here to visit her 15 months ago. 3 weeks after I arrived, her and her friends stopped talking to me. And a week after that, I was going to head back to Saigon. And as you know, they shut the borders on us. So, no, it's not been fun.
We were actually going to meet up.
Yeah. We were going to try to gig out in that fucked up music industry that's called Saigon right now.
And that cesspool jungle music industry that's there full of Ed Sheeran impressionists with Vietnamese accents. I'm in love with the shape of you, right? All that stuff was going on there. That was neat stuff.
The best one was my guy Kim from Korea, and I played for him, and I like him a lot. But for about a year before I got there, he sang "Starry, Starry Night, Starry, Starry Night." He thought it was sorry.
Starry, Starry Night.
Sorry, yeah.
That's right.
And finally, one day he asked me, he goes, "What's the lyrics to that? Is it sorry?" I'm like, "No, it's starry." And he says, "Oh, I've been saying it wrong." I'm like,
"Yeah, no shit."
But if you know any musicians out there that once the borders reopen and life kind of gets back to normal, I mean, if you know Bon Jovi, you can make a quick $20 in fucking Saigon because for some reason they love that guy there, and I really don't get it, man.
And they can play the same song for 40 minutes and they would love it. They only need that one Bon Jovi song, the bow 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 down down, right? Like you know some serious Chinese karaoke is about to break out when you hear those first two C's in that freaking song. Back to what you said about the typical white guy thing that you said. Can you elaborate on that? The typical white guy story.
Yeah, I don't look, man. I'm known for I speak the truth and I don't lie, man. Like I said, I've been to Saigon. I love Saigon, and I love Saigon probably more than I love San Diego. And San Diego is my favorite spot in the world. But I love Saigon. Yeah. But I just find it funny. 75-year-old retired Aussie men with $80,000, $90,000 worth of retirement saved in their banking account really think that 21-year-old Vietnamese girl's in love with them.
Yeah, that's an impressive thing. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying? And so they tell me, no, she loves me. She visits me all the time. And, I give her a couple bucks. I'm like, yeah. And she goes right to her boyfriend with that, man. I was like,
or her friends, right? Like, or she goes and buys a new iPhone or whatever like that, right? And then and then they
Yeah,
just talk shit about the guy. That's all they fucking
Yeah,
do
yeah.
together. Yeah. They're like, I can't believe he
yeah.
was so stupid. He actually gave me $500. You imagine what
Yeah.
a fucking idiot, right?
And then she looks at her watch. It's like, oh fuck, I got to go meet him in an hour. Let me get ready. You know.
Hello, darling. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you know, I'm 53, and the way it happened to me was different. We were doing good. I think what happened was that her father didn't like the idea of me being a foreigner. And here in Cambodia, Vietnam, I didn't get to know the culture too much because I just had a lot of Vietnamese friends, and they would take me places, you know, and they never talked about this. But in Cambodia, the hierarchy is family, friends, everyone else. So the top two control who you hang out with. So if your family doesn't mind and your friends do mind, then they can't hang out with you. If the family doesn't want you around someone, then you can't be around them. And so I think what happened was, because me and her, we traveled a lot. We went to different places, and she wasn't taking money from me. We were doing 50-50. It's just out of nowhere. I think her dad just said, hey, look, I want you to be with a traditional Khmer guy, not a musician who lives, you know, our life. Our life starts at 2 p.m. and ends at God knows when. You know, a Khmer life starts at 6 a.m. I mean, they have a saying here is you're lazy if you're not up before the sun rises. So they can't fathom. Yeah. So they can't fathom the fact that, you know, musicians like us, you know, our thing is get up at 2, figure out where our gig is, kind of get our mind straight, maybe, you know, eat. Then we go to where we're going to do our show. I always check out where it's going to be at first, and then and look for the right spots, you know, and then you're going to have to worry about, you know, eating. You got to stay, you know, you got to stay fit because touring's a bitch, you know. I mean, touring wears people out. People think it's just, this is the funny thing to me about people that aren't musicians, and it's not an insult to them. It's like, say a band like Metallica, they've been around forever. They were kids when I was kids, and I seen them when they were young, you know. And so say like, you know, 5-10 years ago, they talked about, oh, we're gonna break up, and everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe they're breaking up. They made some of the best records in the world. I'm like, you know, musicians as a band, you're around each other all the time, like day in and day out. You go on a year tour, the same 5 guys or 4 guys you're seeing are it. You know, you go city to city. Yeah, after the show, you'll run into cool people and hang out. But at the end of the day, you're getting on the bus, or you're going to the hotel, or you're going to the bar with those same 3-4 idiots that you've been with for 6 months. And after 6-7 months, you've already heard everybody's life story. It's just like the army.
It's years with most people. I can't stand hanging out with most of my band most of the time. So I try to avoid them at all freaking costs, you know, man.
Dude, so I played the corner bar.
Yeah.
And of course, drummers are the bottom line. And I'll admit it. We're nobody. We're nobody.
No. People like to fuck the drummer stuff. It's when you're the trombone guy, or like, you know, something like that, right? Like the keyboard guy is always weird too. Always a weird guy on keys.
You know, it's funny to me that, like, you know, bands like Ramstein and shit, the keyboardist is jamming out more than the guitar player is, you know. But you're right.
Yeah, he's doing like the Beethoven bobblehead thing. You know, John Lord's probably fucked babies. You know, it's like fucked up stuff like that is what he's probably into. You take a look at every keyboard player, he looks kind of nuts. Even like, if you go back to like fucking early on, like Bach era piano guys, I remember being a small kid in elementary school watching, they had all the pictures of all these famous piano composer guys, and they all looked kind of fucked up. Like Brahms looks kind of fucked up, right? Like all those dudes. Mozart looks fucked. Beethoven looks fucked, right? And all this thing that got the big fake wig because they got syphilis and all their hair fell out, right? You know, yeah. So
and you know, longevity, you know, so like I was saying, like the drummer is like the bottom of the barrel. And I always tell people, I teach drums and I love drums. I love it. I've loved it my whole life. I started off as a violin player. I've played classical flute and I turned to drums and I love playing drums. I trained as a drummer for 5 years in college. It's what I love. I love it. But I also know that everyone on the planet is a drummer. Okay. No matter where you go, everyone's a drummer. You know?
Maybe
so,
in Asia, where everyone sucks, and they come up and they,
but my thing is like, so
I can play drums too.
Okay, and then my thing is I like 10-15 minutes to unwind after a gig, think about what I did good, and then what I didn't do good, and that way I can work on what I didn't do good for the next gig. You know,
I save that for the shower. Like usually it's like, you know, get the fuck on out, get your free drinks, get your money, get the fuck out of there. Save. And if you had a terrible time, then you have a shameful shower. And if you had a good one, then you're having a good jerk in the shower and you're like, yeah, I'm pretty fucking amazing. If you did a really good job, then you got a girl cleaning you in the shower, giving you the jerk in the shower. And she's telling you that you were awesome.
I've never done that good of a show.
With aspirations, bro. Aspirations. That's good stuff.
But anyhow, so the lead singer and the Russian and a couple of the fans were over at our table, you know, lighting up. They're smoking weed. I don't smoke weed. I drink beer. And I was just sitting on the stage like this, drinking my beer. And up comes some guy who had to be on crack. I'm a drummer. I was like, whoa, time out, bro. Time out. Go smoke some weed with them guys and calm the fuck down, man. I was like, I can't deal with you right now, man.
And do they got that kind of drugs over that way? Like it wouldn't be crack, right? It'd be like meth, basically, right?
Yeah, mostly like old truckers meth. Yeah.
Do you see them smoking that shit out there?
No, I know I've seen them like literally light up while I'm eating dinner. You know, at the table, I've seen guys light up joints, you know, while I'm sitting there eating dinner. The guy next to me is like,
just smoking a doob though, right? But like full on like meth pipe with the crack pipe with the ball and shit. Are they on that stuff over there?
I think that, you know how it is with the police force. So, you know, a joint, you could give them, you know, 20,000 dong, they'll leave you alone. But if you start pulling out the narcotics, they're gonna haul your ass away. So
it'll be more than that. It'd be like, you know, $1 million dong, 2 million dong to get away with whatever. You can run somebody over with a car, and I believe it's 10 grand, and you're out of jail,
bro.
Yeah,
I seen a guy here get smacked by a taxi, and you know they don't stop because
then he's got to pay.
Yeah, and that old man, he was an old white man, probably in his 70s, 75 or so. And he laid in the middle of the street bleeding. I'm drinking my beer, just kind of looking at him, and a couple of his friends just looking at him. And I'm looking at them like, guys aren't going to call anybody. You're just going to stare at your friend bleeding out right there in the middle of the street while I drink my beer, man.
So I'm walking down the street. I see this bicyclist coming towards me. He's he's not on the sidewalk, right next to the sidewalk. This woman cuts him off in her car. He wipes out, no helmet, smashes his face into the pavement. I, trying to be a good Canadian guy, go up and try to stop traffic from him being run over. The woman's long gone. She's like long fucking gone, driven far away, right? Some other people eventually get out and try to help him as well. And I'm telling everyone, call the ambulance, call 911. This is Vung Tau in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Okay, middle of fucking nowhere. Vung Tau is Pirate Hooker Bay in Vietnam, right? So we're hanging out there, right? And he's dead on the ground. Well, he's not dead yet, but he's going to be dead. And eventually the ambulance comes after 20, 30 minutes. And they've had to call him a bunch of different times. The ambulance finally gets there and says, "Oh, we can't take him." And they drive away. They don't say why they can't take him. They just can't take him. So they're like, talking in Vietnamese and saying like, okay, let's put him in the taxi. Let's call him a taxi. And then we'll just tell the taxi to drive to the hospital and it'll be fine. So keep in mind, this guy has just landed on his face, gone over the handlebars, could have a broken neck. He's still conscious, but not really that conscious, right? He's pretty fucked. I make the mistake of walking up and talking to another person, I now cannot see what's behind me. Behind me is the guy. I'm standing in front of him now, talking about what happened to another person. And just like a fucking Monty Python skit, the taxi pulls up behind me. I still don't see the fucking thing. They open the door. One guy grabs his arms, another guy grabs his legs, and they literally swing him into the taxi.
Yes. Yeah.
Ragdoll the fucker, right? His neck's dangling, right, like over here. He's you know he's gonna be fucked. And they dump him in there, tap on the back of the hood, right on the trunk, drives away.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I know because in the army, I was trained, someone gets hit, mobilize the neck, don't move.
Dude,
so you don't
Saturday morning cartoon commercials tell you that. Like, don't fucking move him. He's done.
Yeah, and I seen that here too. Like, guy gets hit by a fucking a tuk-tuk. He's laying in the road. Some foreign nurses like carefully put him on the side of the road so he doesn't get hit again. And they're tending to him like European, Western medicine. They're nurses on vacation. And then as soon as the ambulance rolls up, they literally did what you talked about.
Yeah, they pick his ass up, throw him in.
Threw him in the ambulance and took off. And I was like,
what are you doing?
I was like, if he didn't have a spinal injury before, he does now, man.
Yeah, like lack of total sense. Then there's some things like the power lines. Are they similar where you're at right now? Where they got like 100 different cables going into one box, and the guy will climb up a ladder barefoot with no gloves and fucking and plug him in and out and just hope he doesn't get fried like that. That's some intense stuff.
When I walked back today, the guys were actually using the wires to lean their ladder up against as they were walking up barefoot to check them out.
There's some intense shit, right? And then you talk about the work ethic in Cambodia. That's very different than the Thai one, I have to say, from what I've experienced. Now, I'm not saying all Thai people are lazy or whatever like that, or they're all stupid or anything like that at all. It's quite the contrary. But my experience is in 7-Eleven, in every city in Thailand, in 7-Eleven, there's like 5 or 6 people, usually women, working behind the counter. And for some reason, no matter what, if there's only 3 of us, we're going to be waiting in line to buy something. So you have 6 motherfuckers behind the fucking counter there. One's like cleaning something. One's like playing with the microwave.
Yeah.
One's like looking through the cigarette packages for the 100th fucking time today. And then the other 3 are just standing there. And you'll just be waiting.
I've never been to Thailand, and so I don't know their culture.
Okay.
I know Cambodian culture. In Cambodian culture, lines don't mean anything. So I was at a Circle K near one of my favorite places I used to go. It was a pizza place owned by a nice Khmer family. And they had 50-cent tappers, and it was right by the river. So I could sit there, drink till 10, walk across the river. There's another family that had a little food cart, and the husband was a tuk-tuk driver, and they would let me sit there and eat with them and drink beer with them. And then around midnight, they'd shut down. They're like, all right, go back up to your hostel, which was right across the street. We'll see you tomorrow, I went over to get me a sandwich. I was hungry, man, and there was no food up in the hostel I stayed at, because at midnight they shut everything down because it's right down the street from the King's Palace, and there's a noise ordinance in that area. So I went to this Circle K, and I'm waiting in line with like all kinds of I'm drunk as fuck munchy shit, and there's a line and one person working and 5 people watching, just like what you said. And Cambodians are just walking in and going to the front of the line and buying stuff and walking out. And, I'm American, Americans would be, hey, fucker, line's back here. Everybody else is just like, that's cool.
He's a cutter. Kick his ass.
Yeah, no,
he's a cutter.
Here it's just like, everybody's like, whatever, that's how we do things here. Some people just walk to the front,
I remember Da Nang, which is very, very similar in mentality to mainland China, in terms of manners, of things like lines and stuff, right? and I'm at the Big C there, which is a big grocery store, not the Big Cock, the Big C. And I was trying to buy some stuff, and I'm standing in line just like you were, and slowly moving forward. And these old ladies would just like straight arm me to get past me and put it down. And like putting my food down on the little conveyor belt. They're just walking in front of me like, no, fuck you, buddy. And they're pushing you off, right? Like, not today, Elway. Right. And it's just smack her like that, or get in your way, and they get their stuff ahead of you. So then I learned that that's what you're supposed to do. And then I'm straight arming old ladies and stuff, right? And you would assume, that's a fair game, motherfucker.
The tipping thing was something I had to get used to. Is like,
do you tip there?
I learned not to unless you actually knew the person. Yeah,
I'm a firm believer. Like, if you do a great job, go above and beyond, absolutely, you deserve a tip, right? You know, like, you bring me a milkshake and a blowjob, I am going to put down $5 on the table. My God, for sure. But if it's like, the same service that you would always get from somebody else, heck no, man. No.
Well, here it's still like iffy, and it's considered an insult for people that don't travel.
Is it considered an insult to tip or not to tip?
To tip.
Yeah, very much like Japan. Interesting.
Yeah. It's an insult. And the only way that tipping is fine is like I have on right off of Bui Vien Street and between Pham Nhu Lao Street in Saigon, not down by Hell Street where everybody hangs out, but I had this little tiny cafe I used to go hang out with, and it was in an alley, and I got to know the girls that worked there really good. Like, a lot of them are still friends with me and asked me to come back and visit, and I got to be friends with them. And like, they would late at night, because it was open 24 hours, I'd get done with a gig, I'd go there to have a few 60-cent big ass Saigon greens, which is I love. And they would order food off the late food carts, and they would give me my own table, and they'd sit all the food on the table. And while they were waiting on other customers, Bobby, eat all you want, just eat. Eat. And so for that, I'd give them a couple bucks at the end.
That's cool, right? That's cool.
Yeah, or when I showed up, I'd be like, hey guys, I'm gonna be here a while. Whatever the girls want to drink, if they want a coconut or some mango or whatever, it's on me.
But in Cambo, they don't like it. They don't like it when you tip in Cambo, right?
Tipping in Cambo if they know you're American, they kind of like, okay, thank you. But what they're getting is you feel sorry for them. They don't. They're proud. They're proud people, and you're saying, "Oh, I feel bad for you, so here's extra money," and so you're insulting them.
Yet the tuk-tuk guy will fuck you every time for like a buck. Yeah, that's an interesting mentality, right? All right.
But it's changing, like with the younger generation.
Yeah.
And especially since, like, me and you, Canadian, American, we're coming over here a lot because, I mean, let's face it, dude. Considered, our country, like my country, pretends to be a free country, and we have so many fucking rules, and everything we do is regulated. Here, I used to play with this guy in Saigon, Peter from Australia. He'd fly in every 3 months, do a 90-day stint, and once in a while, when he couldn't bring his girlfriend, who was his percussionist, he would ask me to play a couple gigs. And
playing in a band with your girlfriend. Ew.
Ew.
They do pretty, stinky feet. Ew.
Yeah, they do pretty good, and he's pretty good. A little full of himself, but still pretty good.
Well, no shit, you got to be to play with your fucking girlfriend in your own band.
But anyhow,
did he name the band after himself?
Yeah, right. You know what? Yeah, everything's about him, Peter. Yeah. So, but
did he name it Peter Smith and my girlfriend?
Yeah. And when he gets drunk, and the best thing is like when he gets drunk, he'll make sure he's a professional, because he'll tell you 300 times he's a professional. But
of course.
But what I liked about him was that when he hired me and he paid me good, we would walk to the gigs. In Saigon, I like walking, and it's
you
funny,
can.
like,
depending what district it is, you can. Yeah.
and I've been invited. You know how Asia is. People they sit in the sidewalks. They'll order a bunch of food and beer, lay out a blanket, and they just sit there and eat. And
Oh,
they'll have like
sometimes it's a
beer.
blanket, sometimes it's a tarp, sometimes it's nothing at all. And they
Yeah.
have like
And sometimes
families that sit on their ass on the concrete, right? You tried to do it?
yeah,
You get like the
yeah.
imprint on your butt, even if
Dude,
you're wearing jeans?
dude, I know, like, I know how to count to 10 in Khmer. I know how to say hello to Sty. I know also how to say thank you, you know, and shit like that. And I mean, I get drunk, I get talkative, you know, I'm a drummer, bro. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. And you
nobody
know how
talks.
to sit on your butt on the fucking concrete and it not hurt? Like
So,
that's a
oh
difficult
God,
time.
hey, I'm 53 fucking years old. I went to 2 combat tours for the US Army. I've had 5 surgeries.
Yeah, you
Sitting on
deserve
my
a butt
ass,
pillow.
it hurts, man. But
Yeah.
I was walking through Saigon one time. It was so great. And I was lost. And it was because I got out of the taxi because he was trying to overcharge me. I was trying to get to a music store. We were at a red light for fucking 15
No, you never
minutes.
use that, man. You use the Uber or the Grab.
Yeah.
You don't use that guy.
So I jumped out.
Yeah.
I gave him 20,000 Vietnamese dong, and I jumped out. I was like, "Fuck this! You're trying to rip me off."
You don't
I
even
gave
have to
him
give
more
him
than
nothing. You can just run out at that point. He's trying to fuck you.
And,
You can
I'm
fuck him
walking.
back.
I'm walking down the street, and in the middle of the dark, under this little light, there's like 15 Vietnamese guys with a whole, you know, a little homemade karaoke machine, all
Yeah,
kinds
that's what
of
they
red
do.
glasses of
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
And I just went by and I just said, you know, Xin Chao, you know, hello. And
Yeah.
they're all yelling, come over here. You know, for some reason, they like Americans. I wouldn't, but they do. And I have been invited to sit down. I mean, to the point where I'm just like embarrassed to say, hey, bro, it's like 3 a.m.
Yeah, they like doing that. That's the social part about the drinking and stuff. But let's talk about the karaoke machine, okay? This is very interesting.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
karaoke machine is this little Bluetooth speaker that has a 1/4-inch microphone cord attached to it, and you can plug in any shitty microphone that you get at any shitty market that you can find. And only in Vietnam have I ever seen this, where they walk around with these things. They set up shop on the side of the street anywhere. They get a fucking cooler full of beer. Like, I'm not kidding. Just I've never seen any group of people in the 9 different countries that I have performed in have ever seen people that small drink that much and be that loud. Now in Thailand, you never see the Bluetooth speaker. In Japan, where some people tell me that's where they created karaoke, you would never see that. You have to go inside an establishment to go and sing your karaoke.
Yeah, they're little karaoke theaters. Yeah, they have them
America
here.
and Canada, you either have to go to one of those, which is even less known, or go to karaoke night at the fucking bar, right? A karaoke night is a way of passage for college kids way back in the day, right? Now, in Vietnam, they just do it anywhere. They pull it out anywhere they fucking want. It doesn't matter if it's 3 a.m. You will hear it, and you will hear the same, you know, like the beginning of Pocahontas, paint with the colors of the wind. You know, that's like right? Every fucking song sounds like that, and you will start hearing them sing this at any fucking given hour of the day. And it could be, it could be in the afternoon, it could be in the morning, it could be in the evening, right? It could be at fucking 3 a.m. It's like, that's just what they do. I've never heard of that or seen that anywhere else. And it is by far the most annoying thing in Vietnam that I have ever experienced.
To me, it is absolutely annoying because everyone in Vietnam thinks they can sing, and they can't. But it's also when I try to make, you know, I'm the half full kind of guy, and I mean, I've hosted open mics that turned into me and a guy playing live music and saying, hey, if you can sing, we know the song, we'll play for you, to where they'll plug their iPhone in and start doing karaoke. And that's annoying as hell. But some of those side just set it up anywhere have turned out to be some of my best free drunks ever. Like, guys are just like, oh, you're American, sit down, you know, and they say, sing a song. I don't sing. I took voice in college. I'm not a singer.
So
You know,
your best drunk what, or street drunk, or what did you say there?
some of my best free street drunks have been being
Free
invited to
street
those.
drunks. So just
Yeah,
walking around, finding
walking by,
the people with the blanket on the street, and they
and
wave you in,
and they go,
and they
and
just
I'll
get
say,
you hammered for free.
and I'm already kind of like buzzed, and I'll be like I do everyone, hello, I don't mean
And you
nothing
know
by
what?
it.
That's actually true too. I've probably had the most free beer and strange shots, much of which were free, in Vietnam. I would think so.
Yeah, because
Everywhere else
and
is.
then here, Cambodia, I'll tell you a fucking story. You can edit this one. My apartment. I got my apartment because that girl wanted me to get an apartment. She said I was staying at a hostel, and she told her friend he needs an apartment, that way we can hang out more. And for the first 3 months, they would like 10 Khmer would bring tons of food to me, and I have a table. Of course, we could sit on the floor and shit, whatever.
Awesome.
But anyhow,
Yeah.
I first moved in here, and she hadn't talked to me for a week, and then I looked and I noticed that she was going out and not inviting me, and so I kind of figured things were going to change. And I only had like 8 beers in my fridge, and this was like 11 o'clock at night. So I'm sitting there fuming, because I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? I'm a foreigner in a foreign country. Get through my 8 beers. It's like 1 a.m. I have no idea where I live, bro. But in my head, now that I'm buzzed, I'm like, I'm going to go find me some beer. It's 1 a.m. There's got to be a place somewhere. So I start walking. Okay. Now these 2 dudes are working on a motorcycle somewhere within the general vicinity of where I live. I still don't know where it's at. But anyhow, I must have walked by them twice or 3 times, because finally one of them comes out. He goes, sir, excuse me, sir, what are you doing? I was like, I'm looking for a place to buy beer. He goes, beer. I'm like, yeah, I want to buy beer. He goes, beer. So he grabs a chair and he's like, sit down. I'm like, what? He's like, sit down. I sit down.
And that's
he goes
his
in
bar.
the back. No, it's a shop where they're working on a motorbike.
Okay.
It's a
and he's turned it into his bar for you, your personal bar.
Yeah. He goes in the back, comes out with a 12-pack, and he can speak semi-good English. And he's like, here's a beer. I'm like, are you sure? And, always want to, give money, and no, don't worry about it, he says. I'm like, okay. So he's like, tell me about America. And when people
tell me about America, sir.
I try to be polite about America, even though I have my own opinions about it. And so we end up talking, and then I had 3 beers, and I'm like, well, thank you, sir. I was like, it's 2:30. I probably should head home. He's like, no. Wait. And he went in the back again, comes back out, grabs his moto. He's like, jump on. I'm like, what? He's like, jump on. He's like, where do you live? And I point. I mean, this is the only tall building in the area. I'm like, I live right there. He's like, okay, let's go. Well, he takes me to the Circle K, like 8 blocks away. He's like, run in there and buy you a 12-pack of beer, man. So I ran in, grabbed some beer. He's like, you live in that building? I'm like, yeah. He drove me to the front where the elevator was. And I reached in my pocket. I'm like, thanks. He goes, no. He goes, I just wanted to make sure you got home safe. You got your beer. He's like, anytime you come around, he's like, anytime you see me again, just stop by. We'll drink some more beer. Dude, I really
back in the States, had that happened, he's scoping you, and he's going to be waiting for you to jump out, and he's going to fucking rob your ass. But that's interesting how he didn't do that there. And where was that again? That was Cambo or Vietnam?
That's Cambodia.
Cambodia. Okay. That's fucking crazy,
and
man.
So it was crazy that he actually was worried about my welfare walking home at 2:30 in the morning. So he dropped me off. I like I said, I still don't know where I went and where his shop is, because I would love to return the favor, show up with a case of beer.
So you still don't know where he is.
I have no idea where I was.
Are you sure it really happened? Could have that been a drunken hallucination? Yeah, no, that's fucked up. Yeah. That's like a mirage. You've never seen him again.
But it's crazy, because like there was a time where I was on a stranger's bike. And, I grew up in Southern California in the 80s when gangs and all that were a big deal. And you always got to be aware. Plus, I was in the Army for fucking 12 years and I was in war twice. So you always got to be aware of what's going on. And this guy was giving me a ride back to my hotel room and he started cutting through alleys. Now, I wasn't sure about alleys at first in Vietnam, but alleys are actually where people live and shit. There's a lot of nice restaurants in alleys. I know this now.
Some of them serve dog, and it's good. Yeah.
I ate dog. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. But, it happens. Like, not on purpose though, right? You were just like, "What's in this?" and he ate it, and they told you after.
The worst thing so this guy cuts to an alley, and I was sober, and the Western mentality me kicked in. It's like, okay, I know my hotel room is closer than this alley. There's going to be 3 guys at the end of this alley ready to go. So I started like getting myself prepared.
Hey.
Like, I'm going to be fighting my way home, and we come out the alley. And
we're going to squish some midgets today. Yeah, here we go. Ding dong, you are dead, you motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah. But you got to be aware. And I mean, I've had a really good time here. I mean, I've had some disappointments.
The eating dog's kind of fucked up, right? Because like when I got the dog served to me, I thought it was delicious and I didn't know it was a fucking dog. It looked like little pork chops. And I remember it was one of the first days I was in Vietnam, and I got the little styrofoam box with the rice and the carrot and the pork chop on top, and they put that green sauce with the chives in it.
Yeah, that green, it was really good.
Yeah, and I ate it. I ate it. Fucking went back the next day, ate it again. Third day, went back, ate it again. Walked around the building, just to just going for a walk around the fucking thing, and the fucker's chopping up a dog in the back.
Yeah.
And he's like fucking chopping up the dog and bringing it over to his wife who's cooking it inside. Yeah, that was nuts. It's like, no, it's not like they take a silver dish and they open up the top and they show you like look how fresh this is. They don't fucking do that or anything. But like they got little signs that say selling dog meat in Vietnamese outside.
Yeah, we when Tanner came to Vietnam, he started in Hanoi with his buddy and made his way down to Saigon. And his mom worked for the United Nations. His friend's mom worked for the United Nations. So one of the nights, she took us out to one of them really nice restaurants in District 7, and they were really nice. And Tanner's friend, Tanner just kept thinking, I've been eating dog. I know I've been eating dog. Well, he hasn't. His friend told me, he goes, we never ate dog. I kept teasing him that it was.
I think he wanted to eat dog because if he's still there and still eating, I think he wanted to. And he's like, I'm eating dog.
Smoking to me is my habit. So even in Vietnam, if I'm
you got a couple, but they're good for you.
I go somewhere else. I don't smoke at a table unless it's with a bunch of smokers. If you're not a smoker, I'll go stand somewhere. And so
that's nice.
I went out the restaurant to smoke, and his friend came up to me. He goes, "Hey Bob, I just ordered dog. Tell Tanner it's fucking pork." I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." I was like, "This will be the 3rd time I've ate it. I know how to do it with the leaf and the sauce and all that shit, And
no, go into it. Other people don't. So go into it. How do you wrap up the dog?
Okay, so it comes in, and the first thing I want to tell people is, if you imagine what a dog would taste like, that's what it tastes like. Now,
okay,
in like
that's the sound bit, by the way. That's the sound bit I'm going to use for this episode.
Okay, so
but anyways, go.
You know how Asia is like they serve everything it's like family style. So you'll get a bunch of rice, a bunch of noodles, a bunch of meat, a bunch of this and a bunch of that, dips, sauces, blah blah. It's all separate, and you gotta figure out like how to put it together. Like I got so good at pho that when foreigners would order pho next to me at my favorite cafe, the waitress, the foreigner would ask the waitress, well, how do we do the leaves and the fucking onions and the spices?
Yeah, but how do you wrap up the dog though? How do you do that?
Yeah, okay. So what you do is you'll get a plate of dog. Don't reach in there and just eat the dog because it's going to taste like fucking dog.
Yeah.
You got to take, you get a leaf, and I think it's not mint, but it's kind of like eucalyptus is what it tastes like. And so
Okay.
you take the dog and you put it in this big eucalyptus leaf,
This
and then you
big
put like,
fucking leaf. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and then you put some like you always got something spicy because Vietnamese like spicy. You put some spicy stuff on there, maybe some more vegetables, and then you kind of wrap the bottom end like a
Okay. So it's like a
burrito in
lettuce wrap.
California.
It's like a dog
Yeah,
lettuce wrap.
yeah, and then you take a bite out of it, and if you do it right, it still tastes like dog, but with good sauces, you know.
But with some leafy shit and some spices and
Yeah,
stuff. Like,
some spices.
Tastes like.
Yeah,
Now,
but
how does dog smell when it's cooked?
You know, it to me, and you've had it, but to me, it just smells like kind of like day old chicken. You know
Yeah,
how
it's
like,
got a similar texture. I said it had a similar texture to pork, but a little bit
Yeah.
softer. But that could have been depending on who cooked it.
who cooked it? Yeah.
Yeah, smelling
But,
like
yeah.
old chicken. It kind of looks like pork, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it looks like a reddish white meat.
Yeah,
You know, a little darker than chicken, but it
Yeah.
doesn't smell. It smells like kind of stale chicken,
yeah.
and it tastes like it should have had a name. You know.
That's good. We'll cut that part right there. We'll cut that.
Because I remember
good.
like a year and a half ago, we were supposed to meet in Saigon, and so I was just meeting you, and people don't know this. Like, people think me and you like have palled around Southeast Asia, and what they don't know is me and you've never met in person.
Yeah, we've been
Like,
trying to do this, but we keep on moving
Right.
cities from where we're at.
But see, my thing was like Mikey told me about, and was his name Y-Rock? Remember Y-Rock? He's a guitar player in Vietnam too, Y-Rock or something like that.
Y-Rock.
But Y-Rock, he played a lot of gigs. He used to play up in Joe's Cafe too. But I saw him play once with the drummer from Mikey's band, Benjamin, who's a rapper now. Used to play drums for everybody, and so, but it was Mikey that told me about you and your band, and so I was.
And he's such a cunt, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah. But this cunt told you about my band. Anyways, yeah.
So he would tell me about, oh, you got to go check this guy out. You know, he's good. And, you know, he's Western just like you, and check him out and blah, blah, blah. And every time I'd look, I'm like, okay, cool. They're playing this scene. And then I'd be like, oh, fuck, I'm playing that night too. I'm like, so it was exactly like that. Like, every time you had a gig and I was planning on going to it, someone would call me and be like, hey, we're playing on the other side of town.
Yeah, dude. I was every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? So it's like,
yeah,
you know, and it's different points in the city.
Yeah, it sucked. And so we never met, but we were going to in Saigon, and hopefully we were going to go to Da Nang. And because you said something interesting about people in Da Nang, like, these people have been through hell, but they're a great audience, you know? And so I want to meet people like that. But I was talking to your fiance, and this goes back to the dog thing. And for some reason, what I was talking about was how much I adore that you and her love animals so much, because I'm the same way. Like, I'm definitely allergic to cats, but I love cats, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just love that. And she goes, yeah, here they steal dogs and eat them. I'm like,
yeah, they do. They do. She's had her dogs stolen. She's a tough bitch, because she's had her dogs taken from her and eaten.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, man? Like, some motherfucker comes in, right? And like, what do they do in America? Like, other than like kill you, right? Like, that's the worst possible one. But they'll come in and they'll jack your watch, your laptop and stuff like that. They won't.
Your sneakers.
They're not going to kill your dog for the most part, unless he's a really fucked up guy, like in the John Wick trilogy thing, right? Where he goes and kills the guy's dog, right? But other than that, everyone knows that killing the dog is a no-no. You don't do that. there's a level of respect, and you don't do that. Even if you're going to rip the guy off, you can kill the guy, but you can't kill his dog. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, you save that for your worst enemy. But these motherfuckers over there, they go and they actually go in, take the dog because they're hungry, and they eat them. Like, holy shit.
Right.
You want a declaration of war? That is one for sure right there, right? And it's a common thing.
Yeah, it's a joke. Like, my son's Native American. He's indigenous, and he goes to Six Nations, or used to go to Six Nations a lot in Canada to play lacrosse. You know,
for
the Iroquois team and a lot of the Iroquois guys. You know, so all that, and the wisest Indian man I met was he stumped me the first time I was living on the reservation, and we're hanging out, and his son got a dog, and we get home, and he's really traditional native, and son's like, Dad, I got us a dog. And he looks at his son, he goes, did you name him? And he goes, yeah, his name's this. He goes, fuck. And I'm like, what? He goes, now we can't eat him.